Giggle Gauge, Giggle Gauge.
Welcome back to Giggle Gauge. If you love jokes, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button. First joke. An elderly man went in for a hearing aid fitting, and when he returned a week later, the audiologist asked, "How's everything working with your new hearing aids?" The man replied with a grin, "They're incredible. I've heard everything so clearly. I've even updated my will 3 times already." Second joke. After a preacher passed away and arrived in heaven, he was shocked to find a New York cab driver had a better spot than he did. Confused, he said to God, "I spent my entire life preaching, yet he's above me? How is that possible?" God calmly responded, "Well, the results matter. Tell me, how engaged was your congregation when you spoke?" The preacher paused, then admitted, "Well, some dozed off from time to time." God nodded and said, "Exactly. But when people get into that man's taxi, they don't just stay awake. They start praying for their safety." Third joke. A married couple had been living with Aunt Emma for 17 years. She was always complaining, and her presence was becoming unbearable. Finally, after her passing, the husband sighed as they left the cemetery and said, "If it weren't for how much I love you, I would have never put up with your Aunt Emma living with us all these years." The wife's eyes widened in shock. "What? My Aunt Emma? I thought she was your Aunt Emma." Fourth joke. 2 roaches were munching on some food scraps in an alley when one began talking about a restaurant it had visited. "I went to this new place on the corner," said one roach. "Everything was so clean, it practically sparkled. The kitchen was spotless, and the floors were pristine. No dirt anywhere. It was so sanitary I almost thought I was in a hospital." The other roach frowned and said, "Not while I'm eating, please." Fifth joke. A couple's house was swarming with flies, and while they waited for the pest control guy, the husband decided to take matters into his own hands. After a while, he turned to his wife and proudly said, "I got 6 flies, 4 of them male and 2 female." His wife raised an eyebrow. "How do you know which is which?" He shrugged. "The 4 were hanging out on a beer can, and the other 2 were stuck to the phone." Sixth joke. Little Johnny woke up one morning after a dream where his Uncle Bill passed away. That night, Johnny's dad got a call with the sad news that Uncle Bill had indeed died. The next night, Johnny dreamt that Aunt Joy passed away, and sure enough, the call came that evening confirming it. Johnny said to his dad, "I had a dream about Uncle Bill dying 2 days ago, and then Aunt Joy yesterday. It's gotta be something, right?" His dad smiled awkwardly and said, "Just a coincidence, son." The next day, Johnny said, "I dreamed that you died last night." The father, now panicked, took extra precautions all day. No risky food, no speeding, even checking the weather constantly. When he got home, exhausted and safe, his wife asked, "How was your day?" He sighed. "Worse than yours, I'm sure." His wife smiled. "I don't know about that. The milkman dropped dead on our front porch today." Seventh joke. An old man calls his son and says, "Your mother and I have decided to get a divorce. After 45 years, it's enough." The son panics. "Wait, what? Why would you do that?" The father sighs and says, "We can't stand each other anymore. I'm fed up with her face, and honestly, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Call your sister and break the news to her." The son, now worried, calls his sister, who's immediately furious. "No way. I'll be flying home tomorrow to fix this. Don't do anything rash. No lawyers, no divorce papers. Got it?" She hangs up, and the old man turns to his wife. "All right, they're coming for Christmas, and they're covering their own flight costs." Ninth joke. A young lawyer was defending a client in a lawsuit that was looking grim. Desperate to win, he asked his senior partner if he should send a gift to the judge, perhaps some premium cigars. The senior partner looked horrified. This judge has a reputation for fairness. If you try that, you'll lose the case for sure. A few days later, the judge ruled in the young lawyer's favor. Patting him on the back, the senior partner said, "Now aren't you glad you didn't send those cigars?" The young lawyer grinned. "Actually, I did. But I made sure to include my opponent's business card with them." 10th joke. A Mormon and an Irishman found themselves seated next to each other on a flight from London to the US. As soon as the plane leveled off, the flight attendants came by to take drink orders. The Irishman asked for a whiskey, and it was quickly served. The flight attendant then turned to the Mormon and asked if he wanted anything to drink. The Mormon replied, "I'd rather be dragged through a pit of fire than let alcohol touch my lips." The Irishman smiled at the attendant and said, "I didn't realize we had options like that." Now that we've heard them all, let's dive into the ratings and see which ones truly hit. First joke. I'd give this one a 9 out of 10. It has a fresh take on the hearing aid joke, and the punchline about changing the will still lands well. The humor is strong, and it's easy to follow, but it could feel a bit predictable for some. Second joke. This one gets a 10 out of 10. The preacher and cab driver comparison is clever, and the punchline about passengers praying is fantastic. The humor is solid and unexpected, and it flows smoothly. It's fresh and funny. Third joke. I'd rate this a 8 out of 10. The misunderstanding between the husband and wife is funny, but it's a little bit of a familiar setup. The twist with the Aunt Emma mix-up still works, though, and it's light-hearted. Fourth joke. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. The roach discussion is funny, but the idea of food safety and cleanliness is used in other jokes. The punchline about not wanting to eat while talking about cleanliness is good but feels slightly predictable. Fifth joke. I'd give this a 7.5 out of 10. The fly situation is a funny take on stereotypes, and the punchline about distinguishing flies based on gender is amusing. However, it's a bit straightforward, and there's room for a stronger setup. Sixth joke. This one is a 9 out of 10. The whole dreaming of death sequence has a fun build-up, and the twist at the end with the milkman makes it unexpected. The pacing and punchline timing are great. Seventh joke. I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. The father's reaction to the spider request is funny, and the punchline about getting one off the web is clever. It's a fresh take on a classic dad joke. Eighth joke. I'd give this a 9 out of 10. The twist with the parents planning to make their kids pay for Christmas flights is hilarious and unexpected. It's a good mix of sarcasm and family humor, but it's a bit familiar in structure. Ninth joke. This one earns a 10 out of 10. The lawyer's cheeky move with the cigars is genius, and the punchline lands perfectly. It's sharp, clever, and makes the situation feel real while still being hilarious. 10th joke. I'd rate this a 7 out of 10. The Mormon-Irishman exchange is funny, but the punchline could be a bit more original. It's funny, but not as unexpected as some of the others. That's all for today. If you had fun, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more joke breakdowns.